So anyone who knows me knows that my favourite anime of all time was Toradora. This is because it gave me such an emotional high that the day after finishing it, I watched the entire thing again. After not being able to get the same kind of bliss from the second watch through, I was put into something of a withdrawal. And to try and get that high again, I started watching anime in droves. Some of it was good, some of it was not so good. But none of them ever really hit that spot that Toradora did. The various reasons I love Toradora will have to wait for another video though, because I now have a new favourite anime of all time, Karakai Jouzu no Takagi-san. A show about two middle schoolers who have a massive crush on each other. So what is it about this show that makes me so damn happy? I've managed to boil it down to 5 core reasons. Oh, by the way, this video is intended for people who have already seen the show. If you want to watch Takagi-san, and I very much suggest that you do, then please go watch it now and come back to this later. This is your official spoiler warning. So the first point in this show's favour is just how innocent it is. So much anime these days rely on fan service for entertainment. Even Toradora is guilty of this from time to time. However, with Takagi-san, the most fan service the show gets is in episode 7 Swimsuit, where Takagi tries on some swimsuits. And even that's kind of stretching it, because the point of these scenes isn't to give the audience something to look at, it's to give Nishikata something to look at and freak out over. It's here that I should probably remind you that the main cast are in middle school, so probably for the best that they have some restraint in the fan service department. I mean, sure, the show does allude to some pretty inappropriate subjects, like in episode 4, Kickover, where Nishikata looks up Takagi's skirt, or even episode 2, English Translation, where Takagi asks Nishikata if he's thinking about something dirty. But those moments aren't there to help the audience get their rocks off. Rather, it's there to add to the humour of the show, usually through Nishikata's reactions. And speaking of the show's humour, point 2, this show is just downright funny. I mean, don't get me wrong, it didn't make me laugh as hard as, Konosuba did, but it certainly had moments. Most of the humour comes from the pranks that Takagi pulls on Nishikata and the reactions that he has. There's a large variety of situations that Takagi gets him into, but for example, there are the ones where Nishikata puts himself into situations by lying or trying to outsmart Takagi, like episode 6, Test of Courage, when he tried to scare her only to be scared even worse himself, or episode 7, Shopping, where he tries to outsmart her to no avail and loses the bet he was never gonna win. And probably my favourite of these situations, episode 8, Marathon, where Nishikata tries to beat Takagi in the school marathon, not knowing that girls finish the marathon a whole 2 kilometers early. I mean, technically he didn't lie in that one, but he did try to outsmart her because he'd been training for it, very likely without telling her, so yeah. However, the best parts of the show are where Takagi takes advantage of Nishikata's timid and reserved nature to embarrass him, usually by making him think of inappropriate things. Examples of this start as early as episode 2, Pool, where she tricks him into thinking she is on her period, and continue through episode 3, Umbrella, where Takagi forgets words and phrases like kiss and I love you. There's another common type of prank in this show, but that leads us into our third point. This show is goddamn clever. Some of Takagi's tricks require so much manipulation and preparation to pull off that I wouldn't be surprised if she wound up a comic book villain. Take for example the first story of episode 1, Eraser. Just think about how much planning had to go into that prank. First, Takagi would have had to have written Nishikata on one side of the eraser and look at the hallway on the other. Then she had to put the idea in his head that people believe that writing your crush's name on an eraser will make them like you. Funny that, I usually just drew genitals on mine. Then she tricks Nishikata into thinking that he had written somebody's name on his eraser. Then leaves the room to give him an opportunity to grab her eraser to get her back, and wait to see which side he got. That's not even mentioning that she accurately predicted that he would go straight for her eraser to get her back. And how she knew he would totally read what was on the eraser, especially if the name wasn't his. This plan is madly complicated for a middle schooler. Even if Nishikata did see his name on the eraser, Takagi would have had a plan for that too. Not only does this part of the show convey the dynamic between the two, it also shows off the fourth thing that I really love about this show. No matter how confrontational their friendship is, Nishikata and Takagi genuinely care for each other and make an effort to show it from time to time. When I was only 8 episodes in and I hadn't read the manga yet, I wrote the first iteration of this very script, and in it I was discussing whether or not Nishikata was a victim of bullying. I argued that he wasn't, and said that I believe that if he had the choice to move seats, so that he wasn't with Takagi, that he would refuse to take that opportunity. But then I read the manga and watched episode 12, Seating Arrangement, and not only does he refuse, he actively tries to prevent their separation. More examples of this are seen in episode 6, Water Tap, where Nishikata falls over and hurts himself and Takagi is genuinely worried for him. And my personal favourite, Two Choice Question, where Nishikata states that he would rather be teased forever than lose Takagi. And last but not least, I love the simplicity of this show. I love that it's about 2 middle school students. I like there's a perfectly normal world, no magic, no superpowers, no oddities at all. I love that the biggest problems to these characters are having their video games taken away or losing their allowance. It certainly reminds me of simpler times. Remember at the start when I said that Toradora gave me a dose of pure happiness that I've been chasing ever since? Well, Takagi-san provided me with that high. Not only that, but just like Toradora, it's got me excited about anime again. I've been watching a few extra shows this season. Some good, some not so. Actually, I'm yet to find an anime I don't like this season. Takagi-san is sweet, it's heartfelt, it's everything I could ever want in a romance anime, and that is why Takagi-san makes me happy. I'm thinking I might go in depth and properly analyse some stories from Takagi-san. So if you have any requests, please let me know in the comments, and if you want to see them when they come out, make sure you subscribe. Did you know that I write and direct my own films? It's true! Check out my parent channel, Big Joe Productions, to find out more. And lastly, if you're a fan of the style that this video has, make sure you check out Exclamation Point, an anime analyst whose style I totally stole. Thank you for watching, see you next time.